Today we will be discussing the effects of abortion on women and examining the debate of whether or not women really do experience these psychological problems. 21% of all pregnancies end with abortions. Out of all the women who have abortions, 81% suffer from psychological and mental health issues. Women struggling with these issues have been reported to experience depression, drug abuse, repeat abortions, abusive relationships with themselves and others, guilt, sorrow, anger, and much more. Countless studies have been conducted about whether or not women suffer from forms of psychological trauma following their abortion. Some studies examine PAS, which stands for post-abortion syndrome. As stated by psychologist Dr. Vincent Rue, PAS is the stress of abortion leading to post-traumatic stress disorder. Rue states that PAS is characterized by the chronic or delayed development of symptoms resulting from impacted emotional reactions to the perceived physical and emotional trauma of abortion. 4 symptoms of PAS include experiencing incidental flashbacks or nightmares about past abortions, failing to avoid abortion-centered situations and denying any memories of the pain felt, suffering from symptoms resulted from the abortion, and having been exposed to the abortion experience. While PAS has not been fully proven, Dr. Rue goes so far to say that PAS is a similar condition to that of PTSD. It went unnoticed for a period of time, despite the fact that people were truly suffering from its effects. Planned Parenthood, abortion clinics, and groups such as the American Psychiatric Association and the National Abortion Federation all strongly believe women do not suffer from post-abortive effects. To these groups, PAS is not a relevant effect of abortion because there is limited scientific evidence to prove it. In order to fully comprehend why the Catholic Church so adamantly opposes abortion, it is important to understand the teaching that all life is valuable and worth saving. In Jeremiah 1:5, God says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you." God created each and every person in his image and likeness, so man has a duty to protect the sanctity of all life. Moreover, God naturally shows his mercy even in dark times of despair. In this case, the women who have had abortions are shown great mercy through him. There are countless stories of women who have found solace with themselves because they first found peace with God. Despite certain pro-abortion group beliefs, evidence found in personal testimonies and psychological research proves that post-abortive women suffer from the mental health effects of abortion, such as post-abortion syndrome, regret, and depression. Research has been conducted which combats post-abortion movements regarding the truth behind post-abortion syndrome. Women tell their own stories which reveal immense amounts of regret that they experienced. Moreover, these testimonies reveal God's mercy in abortion and child loss situations. Women struggle with deciding whether or not they want to have an abortion, which leads to great stress after going through with the procedure. Women who abort later on in their pregnancies develop more psychological effects, such as regret and depression. Those who think more about their abortion before and after the procedure develop increased anxiety and depression. David Reardon, Ph.D., the director of the Elliott Institute, and Priscilla Coleman, a family studies professor at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, both conducted studies and found a higher risk of psychiatric hospital and clinic admissions among poor, post-abortive women, and found a higher risk of generalized anxiety disorder post-abortion. Adding on to increased anxiety and depression, the question of suicide becomes prevalent for women who choose to abort. Author Susan Stanford Rue attests to having been on the verge of suicide after her own abortion. Research shown by the Elliott Institute depicts that 60% of women who have gone through with the abortion procedure experience thoughts of suicide. Among that 60%, 28% attempt to end their lives. In one study, the United States reviewed records of low-income women residing in California who had an abortion and those who had given birth. It was determined that women who had had state-funded abortions were 2.6 times more likely to die from suicide compared to women who delivered their babies. In fact, having a baby decreases the living possibility of suicide for women altogether. Due to the controversial nature of this topic, people tend to voice their opinions, thus hindering unbiased evidence for either side of the argument. Groups such as Planned Parenthood and the American Psychiatric Association state that PAS and all mental health issues are not relevant to women who have had abortions. Planned Parenthood released studies conducted by the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges, which concluded that a woman with an unwanted pregnancy is likely to have mental health problems from abortion as she is from giving birth. The American Psychiatric Association Task Force on Mental Health declared that relative risk of mental health problems is no greater among adult women who resolve unplanned pregnancy with a single elective first trimester abortion than it is among those who give birth. The main idea is pro-abortion groups state that women who have had an abortion have the same mental health issues as women who have given birth. They go on to say that women who are supposed to suffer from psychological issues have experienced mental health problems prior to the pregnancy. In order to refute these claims made by clear pro-choice groups, it is important to understand that studies and surveys are in the process of being devised and collected. This makes it a little bit harder to find real hard concrete evidence, but information is being worked out and developed and is coming out very soon. These pro-choice groups, however, gather data 2 years after a woman has had an abortion. They proceed to complete a survey, which in turn contains limited data regarding what women have experienced. Most other groups, mainly pro-life, wait until almost 20 or 40 years until they begin sending out surveys to women to see how they have been coping after their choice to abort. Additionally, it is important to note 50% or more of women who have had an abortion will conceal it from interviewers. This raises the question of whether the responses from the survey taken 2 years after the procedure are truly accurate. Therefore, the results and evidence arguing in favor of the psychological effects on women are not comprehensive. Fortunately, resources such as personal testimonies are available to provide insight into the thoughts and feelings of women who have had an abortion. The issue regarding women who experience psychological issues is a pro-woman argument. Taking into consideration that all life matters, it is necessary to take care of post-abortive women, even though they decided to terminate the lives of their own children. The Catholic Church makes a point to provide comfort and services to women who have dealt with the pain accompanying abortions. One such program is Rachel's Vineyard. This is in a sense a safe haven for women who have undergone the hardships of post-abortion trauma. They are able to leave behind their unholy, guilty, and selfish thoughts about themselves, which allows them to mend the unspoken chasm that's formed as a result of the killing of their child. Through God's mercy, women are both able to work through their psychological issues and find comfort in knowing that they are still loved despite their own decisions. Do you have anything that you would like to add to this topic?
Yes, I do. A lot of women seem to think that men have no say really in the abortion debate, but I totally disagree with that. Obviously, the Procreative Act involves a man and a woman, so it's every bit as much a man's issue as it is a woman's, and it's a human issue. And our preborn brothers and sisters are being murdered, they're being mutilated, they're being destroyed in the womb, and women do suffer. The studies, the research bear that out now. There's been years and years of studies and research. It's very apparent that women suffer greatly post-abortion. the church in its infinite mercy, through confession, through the year of mercy that the Pope has declared this year, welcomes these women back, asks them to come back, asks them to and the men too, to confess this this travesty and ask for forgiveness, and God will always forgive. Women do suffer. There's so many issues involved with abortion, and it's just such a great gift that the church gives to all humans, men and women. The forgiveness, the just everything that the church provides for people that have been through this situation, and it's just a great mercy that the church provides.